So we've explored changing and editing the standard calendar and also the work resource calendars, bearing in mind each work resource has their own calendar. What we need to also look at is the ability to add in recurring absence patterns. So for things like holidays or public holidays like bank holidays, all need to be entered into one or more of the calendars so that they affect your project. Otherwise, you might find that you plan your project, it hits a bank holiday, and your project plan is thrown out because you haven't built into your calendars the fact that nobody will be at work. So if we wanted to add in public holidays, the best place to do this will be into the standard calendar because all of your work resources are, for the moment, based on your standard calendar. So let's go have a look at change working time from the project ribbon. There's our standard calendar. And we need to add in what are classed as exceptions to the working pattern. First exception will be New Year's Day. Now, because we've chosen our project to actually start on the 1st of January, this will have an immediate effect on our project. So we put the name in for our exception so that we know why it's there. Now, for the moment, you can change these start and finish dates, but I'm actually not going to because we want to go into details where we can set up a pattern. So the exception is, this particular exception, which is New Year's Day, is going to be a non-working exception. So it's not going to be a change of working hours. It's going to be, we don't work at all. What is the recurring pattern? Well, it's yearly on January the 1st. January the 1st. The range of the recurrence is going to be from January the 1st, 2013, which is really when our project starts. And then we can decide how many occurrences. I'm going to put 10 occurrences, which will cover me for 10 years. Well, I'm hoping that my bedroom project is completed within 10 years. It's meant to be completed within 10 weeks. Okay, but that will build in, as we see here, from the 1st of the 1st, 2013 to the 1st of the 1st, 2022. A non-working day for the 1st of January. If I then scroll in this upper half to January, you can see 1st of January is an exception day. And it's a non-working day. And if I wanted to scroll ahead to the following year, just to prove it works, there's January 1st, 2014. It's a non-working day. And it's an exception to the normal working pattern. So we can add in as many exceptions as we like. This will affect the standard calendar, which will therefore affect every work resource that has the standard calendar as a base calendar. So we will also need to add in Christmas Day. Now, in reality, you would only need to add in those exceptions that apply to your project. So you just need to plan ahead enough for a bit of a delay for these exceptions. So Christmas Day, I'm actually going to choose that this time. 25th, and I'm going to actually rename it, not Christmas Day, but just Christmas, because we'll have 2 non-working days there. 26th. Now, the reason I fill these in first this time is so that when you go to details, you can see that it already has the assumption of December the 25th as the range of the recurrence. Now, our pattern is it's a non-working day. It's going to be yearly on December the 25th. And after how many occurrences? Well, let's push that to 10 years as well. Okay, so you can see that Christmas is 25th. Now, if we try to change that second date to the 26th, then it doesn't work. This will then only run for 25th and 26th of 2013, but I want it to be a recurring pattern. So I would need to add in Boxing Day as a second recurring pattern because of its recurrence. It's going to be the 26th. Let's check the details. It's non-working. It's annually on the 26th. And repeat for 10 years. Okay. Now, if it wasn't a recurring pattern and I just wanted an exception for this year, I could add them in as consecutive dates. It may be that, for example, during 2013, we're actually going to close. No work will carry out at all during the second week in February because we just don't want to. I'm going to call it February break. Anybody working on the project will not be available. So we're going to set that 2013, February, let's go from Wednesday to Wednesday, the 6th, to 12. So we come back on the 13th. The details are, this is non-working time, and the recurring pattern is just that it's daily. So it goes from one day to the next. Okay. We can see that the finish date has gone to December. That's what comes of not concentrating. February 12th. Details. Daily pattern. Start. End after. That's where it's getting its long date from. We'll scroll it back here. February the 12th. That's better. So it's 7 days. Okay. And there's our exception. So anybody down to work on those days will not be working. So this is in the standard calendar. So this affects everybody. When we say OK, that could have a knock-on effect to the project. And immediately you can see the delay at the start because Tuesday the 1st is now no longer a working day. And that already pushes the project on. Now, some exceptions might be for individuals who've gone on holiday. They're just not available. So we would do that under change working time and choose their particular calendar, so the plumber. Now you can see the effect the standard calendar changes have had on him. He has this week of not doing any work, but he will have an exception. And in fact, the exception for him is that he is going to work that week. So his exception is must work Feb, and that's going to be from the 7th, everybody else, the 6th when everybody else starts, to the 12th. Details. He's actually going to work. And when you click working time, it puts in the default working hours. That's great. It's a daily recurrence. It's going to happen every day from Wednesday the 6th until Wednesday the 13th. Well, it's actually Tuesday. 12th. I think we'll cover enough. Okay. Now you can see that the colour is different. That's an exception day for him, as in an exception from the standard. And when you hover over it, you can see he actually is having to work. Although it's only picked up the mornings. Let's go back into the details of this exception. Working time. Well, the afternoon is there, so he should be working both. Okay. So we can see that this week has been set as an exception for our plumber, as in an exception to the standard calendar. The standard calendar is giving everybody the week off. Our poor plumber must work that week. So we would do the same with the reverse if you wanted to give someone the time off by setting an exception for their holiday time. In our case, we may give the joiner some time off. You can see his grayed out section where he's assuming the defaults from the standard calendar. But then he wants to go on holiday, 2 weeks in Barbados, right in the middle of our project. So from Monday the 28th of January and comes back. So his holiday finishes on Sunday the 10th. The details are that that's non-working time. It's a daily recurring pattern of non-working time from Monday, January 28th until 10 days later. Okay. And you can see that appears in his calendar as that green exception day. And if he has any tasks allocated during that work time, they will get delayed until his return. Well, he's got 2 weeks in Barbados, and then the standard calendar closes everybody down for a week. So this will seriously have a knock-on effect to our project. Say OK and look at the Gantt chart. And we're now finishing on the 18th of February.